What are you doing October 1st through 3rd? I want to hang out with you just south of Nashville, Tennessee, down in Franklin. I'm going to be keynoting the Mental Health Marketing Conference, and I would love for you to be there. We are also sponsoring the clinical track, where there are going to be tons of amazing trainings, all for you in private practice. This is the national gathering for marketers and clinicians in mental and behavioral health. You're not going to want to miss this awesome conference. It's the one conference I'm keynoting this year, and you can read more over at mhmarketing.org. Also, Steve over at Mental Health Marketing has given 25% off to any Practice of the Practice listeners that want to come to this. Whether you're coming in person or online, you're going to want to use promo code Joe at checkout to get 25% off. I would love for you to come in person for my closing keynote on Thursday, October 3rd at the Mental Health Marketing Conference. But if you can come online, that works as well. Can't wait to hang out with you in Tennessee. Again, that's mhmarketing.org and use promo code Joe at checkout to hang out with me October 1st through 3rd, 2024. This is the Practice of the Practice podcast with Joe Sanok, session number 1026. I'm Joe Sanok, your host, and welcome to the Practice of the Practice podcast. I am so excited to hang out with you today. We're going to be having a robust conversation around entrepreneurship, around AI, around healthcare, around all sorts of different things. It's really going to be an exciting one for you today. If you have not caught this summer, we are doing a ton of episodes. Back in May, we had our psychedelic assisted therapy series where we interviewed 10 different professionals in the field and people that were working on policy and access and site principles from MAPS. So really exciting series if you missed that. We then, after that, had our Movers and Shakers series, which we covered a lot of different ground there. And a lot coming up for us. We're doing these episodes 5 to 6 days a week. And it's really because we have some amazing guests and some amazing sponsors that really are just rocking it out. So this fall, we've got some things coming up that's right around the corner. We've got Level Up Week. That's going to be the second week in September. You can read about the details of that and get on that wait list over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. We're going to be doing 16 live webinars with top consultants and business coaches and marketing experts, as well as panels of your peers around each phase of practice, whether that's solo, starting a group, or group practice. And then also I'm keynoting the Mental Health Marketing Conference. I'm doing the closing keynote there. That's going to be in early October. mhmarketing.org is where you can read more. If you use promo code Joe at checkout, they're giving our audience 25% off. So a bunch of amazing clinicians there. It's going to be such a fun conference in the Nashville, Tennessee area. So all sorts of really killer things going on in our world. But today, I can't wait to introduce you to Faisal Hoque. He is the founder of Hoque, Next Chapter, and other companies. He's also a 3-time winning founder and CEO of his technology company, as well as a Wall Street Journal bestselling author for his books Reinvent and his book Lift and his other book Everything Connects. His book proceeds all go to help cancer research. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. As we were talking before we started rolling, there's so many directions we can go in. You are an expert in so many different areas that we may or may not get to. But I want to start with the personal. You were sharing a little bit about your son and what's been going on with him. Mm-hmm. Let's start there.
Sure. Look, my son is now 21. He was 18 when he got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a type of blood cancer, and it's rare for his age group. He was in freshman year college student, and he was going to Hofstra during the pandemic, and he comes home sick. We think it's COVID. Turns out it's multiple myeloma. So since then, he's doing fine now. He's, he's, what they call is a 95% or 99% in remission, and he's doing all right. But in the course of going through that, I've got heavily interested in, healthcare, particularly in cancer research and utilization of new technologies such as AI. So it's been an interesting journey. I was when he got sick, I was about to start writing Lift, and I almost didn't write it, but then I ended up writing it for his generation, with the thought that world is a changing place, and how this next generation folks are going to get you know adopted and thrive in a changing world. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording about how you're working on a new book around AI and healthcare and
Hmm.
some other things. I would love to just start there. So, like, I
Sure,
I love the process of writing a book. I feel like
sure.
just to follow your curiosity, and you don't know how it's all going to land, and just gathering research, and like you could go so many directions, but it's such an editing process of ideas. Tell me a little
Right.
bit about the writing of that book, but even more, like, what are you discovering about AI in the process of writing this book?
So let's take that AI and healthcare more specifically. This cancer area. So I'm most excited about AI when it comes to these kind of incurable diseases, and what it will do for patient care and diagnostics. Because I mean, one of the challenge with cancer is that it's very specific to a specific person or a body type. So it's hard to kind of pinpoint, a diagnosis, but also what kind of medication or therapy helps that particular body type. So as we collect more and more data, what AI will do is it will help us to quickly help with the diagnosis process, but also create predictive models in terms of what kind of therapy or medication should be applied to a particular, not just particular cancer type, but particular patient type and their body type and their DNA structure. So those will tremendously help with, the patient care and the quality of patient's life. Because as many knows that, when you're talking about cancer patient, what happens with them is that the whether it's chemo or other kind of therapy, it has huge amount of side effect. So quality of life, is challenging even when you survive. And these type of predictive model will minimize that side effect and the quality of life. But it also will help you to create a longer lifespan, utilization of the best drugs as it comes out in the marketplace, right? So, and then you also add to the cost of care, because it is minimizing time and effort for diagnostics, and minimizing the effort for patient care. There's a cost element to it too. So AI type of technology will have a huge impact in terms of patient care and patient diagnostics, and quality of life for the patients who suffer from these kind of critical diseases.
Yeah. Are there practical examples of how you see companies using AI right now or what they're researching in regards to, like, here's one case example of how they're saving time, saving money, increasing patient outcomes? What kind of things are people exploring right now?
Yeah, I mean, it is in every field. AI is being implemented for time saving and process improvement and automation. Whether that's in medical field, where in terms of research, because research requires going through a vast amount of data. Obviously, AI can help with siphoning through this data and give you the answers in a much shorter time frame, and also create predictive model that will help you to come up with new discoveries. So that's one example. But it's not just in medical field. I mean, it's being applied in everywhere, whether that's in the defense industry, or whether that's in manufacturing, you name it. It's every day the usage gets greater and greater and greater.
Yeah. Now, you as an entrepreneur, so you've written all these books. Why don't we go through just each of the books, kind of big picture, what they were about? I mean, every single one of those books could be its own podcast, but I think just for the
Sure,
audience to understand kind of the puzzle pieces of you, to really
sure.
understand just like the vast array of knowledge you have. And then after we kind of go through just the basics of some of your books, I would love to dig into a few different areas that I'm interested in.
Sounds good. So I've actually written about, I think, 8 or 9 books, and I'm working on the new one that will come out next year. But if we just look at the last three, I wrote a book called Everything Connects that focus on mindfulness, creativity, and innovation. That book's focus on how do you connect with yourself in order to connect with the rest of the world, and how do you once you have done that, how do you create to leverage your creativity to create something of value, and the value could be defined as a number of things, meaning your satisfaction, financial a gain, or social impact, whatever the case may be. So that's a very much of if I can use this word, a spiritual way of looking at your personal journey, and then as a result, how you leverage creativity to come up with innovating and sustaining value. I wrote a book right after pandemic called Lift, which focus on transformational leadership. And my argument is that anybody can be transformational leader, whether it's an individual level or organizational level, whatever profession you have, it doesn't matter. But in order to be a transformational leader, you have to you have to understand how world is ever evolving. And because I wrote it right after pandemic, I was looking at the vast change pandemic have had on us, along with climate change and technological change and social behavioral pattern change, and how does any individual practice transformational leadership by tuning to empathy and establishing a repeatable systemic process, and leveraging the execution model that allows them to do things on a regular basis by learning newer things over and over again. So that's about lift, and the core message in lift is that if you want to lift other, first you have to lift yourself, and the only way you can lift yourself is if you do these practices. The last book, which is called Reinvent, it's about transformation, more specifically organizational transformation. But it starts with, in order to transform an organization as a leader, you first have to transform yourself and your mindset, and how do you use that as a cultural driver for organizational DNA, and transform the organization for more sustainability, innovation, and repeatability by utilizing technology. Right. So that was my very last book. And right now I'm working on a book on AI, but more specifically, how can we use AI to unlock our human potential, but also put guardrails so that we don't destroy our society and planet as we know. I'm going to stop there, Joe, and you can go in a number of ways.
I love it. I mean, so sometimes when I interview like authors or content creators, and when they have a vast array of work, if you were to distill everything you've learned into just
Mm-hmm.
actionable things to live a better life, to have a better business, to be smarter, to find more joy, to find more groundedness, what does it distill down to for you?
Well, I mean, each of these, I mean, we just talked about my books, but even on the business side, every venture that I have taken on, it was very much driven by, a personal situation and personal calling, if I can use that term, right? And I found myself, as I've grown older, I've been an entrepreneur since, I'm in my teenage years, and now in my 50s. If I look at just last 10 years, it's very much grounded in how can I make an impact for other folks, and what can I share with the planet that will make a difference, kind of a motivation. So This book proceed goes to cancer research because of my son's situation. And the business that I am in is to make organization better. And more recently, I've been doing a lot of work with our U.S. government and various agencies so that they can serve the citizen better, serve our citizen better, and as a result, have an impact on a global scale. So I think it's a as you grow older and as you grow through life, you have many level of transformation at a different time of your life, given whatever is happening, and you can look at those moment of change. And sometimes those changes are positive, sometimes those changes are negative. But how you react to it, to ground yourself so that you can create a positive outcome is what creates a better life, better community, or a better family, whatever, however you want to call it. So, not you know, if the trick is not to crumble under these changes and things that happens in your life, and have a positive outlook so that you can create something positive for not just for yourself but also for others. That's kind of my motto of life, and I've kind of learned that in a hard ways by facing lots of adversity along the way, just like any of us do on a regular basis, right? Nobody's adversity is greater than others. Life is messy and life is full of adversity. How you react to it is what makes you who you are.
Yeah, I like that. When you think about having that mindset of bettering the world while you're entering into a counseling practice. So most of our listeners, so I'd say about a third of them are solo practice owners. So people that it's just them doing counseling. They may have an admin or a biller or someone like that. And then probably about a third of our audience are smaller group practices. So, under 5 or 10 clinicians. And then the other third are larger, probably 20 to 50 clinicians in their practices. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so we've got people that, typically less than 50 employees total. And they're trying to better the world through counseling, mental health access, all those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes haven't been trained in any business at all. Maybe through this podcast, they get some knowledge with that. Maybe they have started reading some books or doing some courses. When you think about these people, that they start from a place of wanting to help the world, and what
Sure.
business skills they really need to develop to do that well, to make a profit, but to stay sustainable. What advice would you give them?
Look, I mean, obviously, you have to be passionate of the area of practice. We are all practitioners of one kind or another, right? Doesn't matter what profession you are, especially, but more specifically, people who does these type of work, meaning your audience, they do they're much needed, impactful work for many of us who that needs that help. And so from that point of view, they're very caring. I mean, all of these folks are usually very caring, but caring and passion doesn't necessarily always build a business, right? So, basic fundamental of any business is that you have to come up with a unique value proposition, and you have to become. And when you are a expert or of some kind, you have to showcase your expertise with some level of thought leadership, which kind of allows you to create a brand for for the audience you're trying to reach out to, right? And once you have that brand, with that unique value proposition, you have to create a repeatable process of getting your customer and serving that customer and be highly organized while you're adding value to those customers. Because in order to pay your bill and make a living, obviously you need a set of client, and you have to have some sort of a pricing model, and have your customer be able to afford it and pay for it. And obviously, in this industry, there is often enough insurance company involved, so you have to have all those processes in place. And the third element of it is that how do you follow up with the customers so that maybe if you're selling a package, let's say I'm going to give you 8 session. Maybe how do you add the next level of value? And whether those values are considered tangible and usable by your client. That's when you start making the difference and have repeatable customer. That applies for any business, but especially in kind of service business like the audience you have. I think these elements are particularly important.
Yeah. Upheal is an AI-powered platform designed specifically for therapists like us. Now, I know what you might be thinking. AI in therapy, how does that work? Let me tell you, Upheal is a lifesaver when it comes to streamlining your administrative tasks. As therapists, we all know how crucial it is to save time whenever we can. After all, our clients deserve our undivided attention and energy. That's where Upheal comes in. It transcribes, summarizes, and analyzes our therapy sessions, helping us write those detailed progress notes up to 90% faster. Can you imagine saving 6 to 10 hours per week? That's precious time that we can use to see more clients or simply recharge our own batteries. Just a few minutes after you finish the session, you get a pre-drafted, editable progress note, complete with session summary and breakdown of all the topics that were covered. It also provides session analytics that help you measure speech-based metrics like talking ratio, speech cadence, sentiment, and tense. Also, it's 100% HIPAA compliant, making it secure for both therapists and clients. The best part, it's available for all EHRs with their browser extension. So if you're ready to experience the game-changing power of AI in your therapy practice, head on over to upheal.io/Joe and let AI write your therapy notes for you. That's upheal.io/Joe. Get 50% off your first 3 months of Upheal with the promo code Joe over at upheal.io/Joe. Again, that's upheal.io/Joe. Trust me, your future self will thank you. What are you doing October 1st through 3rd? I want to hang out with you just south of Nashville, Tennessee, down in Franklin. I'm going to be keynoting the Mental Health Marketing Conference, and I would love for you to be there. We are also sponsoring the clinical track, where there are going to be tons of amazing trainings, all for you in private practice. This is the national gathering for marketers and clinicians in mental and behavioral health. You're not going to want to miss this awesome conference. It's the one conference I'm keynoting this year, and you can read more over at mhmarketing.org. Also, Steve over at Mental Health Marketing has given 25% off to any Practice of the Practice listeners that want to come to this. Whether you're coming in person or online, you're going to want to use promo code Joe at checkout to get 25% off. I would love for you to come in person for my closing keynote on Thursday, October 3rd at the Mental Health Marketing Conference. But if you can come online, that works as well. Can't wait to hang out with you in Tennessee. Again, that's mhmarketing.org and use promo code Joe at checkout to hang out with me October 1st through 3rd, 2024. Now, when you think about, when you were just getting started, are there things that you wish you could go back and say, this would have really helped you move forward in your career differently than maybe the choices you made?
Look, I mean, when you're young and you're starting out, or when you're starting out, you don't have to be young. What happens is that there are a lot of things that you don't know, and you make a lot of mistakes, right? So the trick is learning from those mistakes quickly and doing course correction quickly and leveraging experts, that know something about some of the things that you're trying to do is probably the best advice I can give. In my 30 plus years of entrepreneurship and working with sizable clients, like the kind of clients that I have. I mean, it's a constant learning process. It's a constant creation process, and it's a constant innovation process of what can I offer that will have a differentiation compared to my competition, and does it add value to my clientele, and And when bad things happen, how do you react to it, and how do you show up strong, regardless of whatever happening in your personal life? I mean, I think those are critical factors in building any kind of successful career, let alone when the career is focused on providing, kind of a solo entrepreneur or small business owners like you were talking about.
Yeah. Now, I'm just thinking with my own business, you've got such a wealth of knowledge and thinking about, how do you scale? How do you grow? I'm wondering, as you've built businesses, what are some of the essential things that people that can really grow and scale their businesses, like what do they learn to implement early on that helps them scale differently than other people?
I mean, I think so. In my case, I believe, have a deep belief in collaboration. So anything I take on, and I consider these different projects. I always have many different venture type projects going on, and I don't do any of those things by myself. I do it in collaboration. Because you can't do everything by yourself and you don't know everything by yourself. So choosing the right partner to start any kind of adventure, will definitely accelerate you faster than if you're trying to do everything by yourself. So that's number one. Number two is that, there's, um, you can go in a very crowded space where a lot of offerings, similar type of offering exists. That's hard to crack because you have higher competition. So choose a market segment or an area of expertise where there's lesser competition, and your whatever you're offering has a unique value proposition. That's the second thing. And the third thing is that rely on outside expertise wherever possible, because you're not going to be able to do everything by yourself. And when you try to do everything by yourself, that's when you start to make major mistakes because there isn't enough time in a day to do everything right and do everything on time.
Yeah, I think that idea of learning to take hats off and build systems that aren't reliant on the owner is such a key for people to start to level up. What are things that
Yeah.
helped you or have helped some of your clients be able to level up and to feel comfortable taking off hats?
If you talk about my client, I think those are not probably the right example because they're a pretty large organization, and when you have large organization, they're very system driven and process driven. That's why they become large. But when you talk about smaller organization, I mean, one of the greatest challenge of a entrepreneur or a small business owner is this idea of letting go and trusting that other people can do things better than you do. All right, they often enough hang on to everything to themselves and don't necessarily let go and trust other people to make those things happen. And as a result, you never scale because you always think that you're the only one who can do this and you're the best at it, so therefore nobody can help you. So that's one. The other thing is that it is essential to focus one or two things before you branch out to too many things and try to do too many things all at once. So the focus element of these, is very, very important, right? Uh, Only when, when I started out versus now, I now have a portfolio of things that I tackle, but I also have a enormous amount of support and system in place to do those things, right? So, and I can, I, and you have to build up to that level of expertise and resources in order to focus on many different things. So often, these small, when people start out, they try to do too many things, and as a result, they don't succeed at anything.
Mm, such good advice. Well, the last question that I always ask is if every private practitioner in the world were listening right now, what would you want them to know?
If you really want to do good, first you have to take care of yourself. But if you and once you do take care of yourself and you are willing to help others, business and money kind of comes. You just have to be patient. but you have to keep at it. Because I honestly, truly believe and live by this philosophy that good intention creates good outcome. So if you get up every morning with that kind of mentality, even in the worst situation, things looks a lot brighter.
Hmm. So awesome. Well, if people want to connect with you, if they want to follow your work, where should we send them?
Look, you can obviously connect with me on LinkedIn. I share a nugget of micro, learning from my own mistakes and my own journey every day. Faisal, you can find me on LinkedIn by typing my name, Faisal Hoque. You can go to my website, faisalhoque.com. You can find my books in Amazon, in Barnes and Noble. There's a free book that I wrote a couple of years ago called Survive to Thrive. I've interviewed about I think 9, 10 entrepreneurs slash survivor of personal calamities. It's free. You can download that PDF. I can share with you that link, and there's lots of nuggets of information, in that book, and it's free for everybody. There's also an app associated with it called Survive to Thrive. It gives you a kind of like a daily practice how to overcome adversity and shoot for survival.
So awesome. Faisal, thank you so much for being on the Practice of the Practice podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So many important conversations to have as you're growing your private practice. If you ever get confused and you're interested in getting a little bit of help, we have tons of resources, whether that's consulting, our membership communities, IT support, back-end support over at Practice of the Practice. But we have something coming up in just a little bit here. In early September, we are doing Level Up Week. So you can get all the details about that over at practiceofthepractice.com/level up. And also, we could not do this show without our sponsors. So our sponsor today, I'm so excited about what is happening with Upheal. Upheal is AI that can save you so much time when it comes to doing progress notes. I don't know about you, but when I had my practice before I sold that, progress notes were just like the worst. I would just rather do counseling, and AI can help. It's HIPAA compliant. It listens to the session, but it doesn't save anything. It doesn't keep any sensitive client information. You can test it out over at upheal.io/Joe and get your first 2 months 25% off. Also, I'm going to be the keynote speaker at the Mental Health Marketing Conference down in Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. So excited. This is a national gathering for marketers and clinicians. We're actually sponsoring the clinical track. It's the Practice clinical track as well. I'm the closing keynote on Thursday. So make sure you sign up over at mhmarketing.org. Use promo code Joe at checkout to get 25% off your ticket, and let's hang out down in Tennessee. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and into your brain. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Special thanks to the band Silence is Sexy for that intro music, and this podcast is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regard to the subject matter covered. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, the producers, the publishers, or guests are rendering legal, accounting, clinical, or other professional information. If you want a professional, you should find one.